Do I need a buyer's agent? Short answer, no, you don't. However, I'd also challenge you, do you need a calculator? Some things, some maths problems you can do in your head. Others you might need a little bit of extra help. You might need a pen and a bit of paper, work it all out. And then there's some other mathematical problems that are so big you don't even know where to start. Buyer's agents are the same. There are some things that you may be able to do in the process of buying a home that you can do yourself. They come really easy to you. And there are other things that just take either so long or there's so much to it, so much research involved. You don't know where to start. You don't know how to look. You don't know what to research. So in those instances, it is really handy to have a buyer's agent. Now, some buyer's agents may be able to help you with just those few little things that you're stuck on. Or if you're time poor as well and you just don't have the time or the resources to do all of the extra things that come with buying a house to make sure that you are getting what you want and what you need, a buyer's agent can really, really help in doing just that. So you don't have to. Use the calculator when you can. So I touched on a little bit the DIY approach versus the expert approach. So diving a little bit deeper into that, 100% you can do it yourself. There are lots of resources out there that can help you through that process. There are some things that are a little bit harder to absorb. They might be a little bit harder for you to do, for instance, negotiation. Some people find it really hard and intimidating to go to a real estate agent or an owner of a home and do that negotiation, especially when you throw in emotion as well. It can make it really, really difficult to do what you need to do in that instance. But with the DIY approach, there are, like I said, many places that you can get the information that you need. It's just a matter of finding where you can get that information and information that you trust and that you know is going to be accurate. Now, on speaking about that DIY approach, it is very, very time consuming. A buyer's agent has done all of the research. We do it on a daily basis. We are in there all the time, looking at the market, looking at negotiation tactics and looking at what sales agents are doing. We're talking to real estate agents in the area. You can definitely do all those things, but do you value your time as well? That's another aspect that you need to take into consideration. It is very time intensive doing all of these things. Now, again, 100% you can do it yourself, but if you want that help or if you want somebody that already has all of that knowledge, why not tap into that? They have it there. They love doing it. Using a buyer's agent can save you so much time that you may be able to put to use somewhere else, or, just have fun. I know a lot of open homes are after school. A lot of them are on Saturdays. Do you really want to keep dragging your kids through all of the open homes, missing out on school sports or missing out on family functions because you want to do it yourself? Now, again, happy for you to do that. And a lot of people do like going to the open homes. Me, I am one of them. But if you don't want to be doing that week after week, this is another reason why a buyer's agent can be of real value to you. I mentioned a little bit about emotions as well, particularly when navigating negotiations. That's when it can really, really hurt. But what a lot of people don't understand is that the negotiation starts as soon as you call the agent and ask them about a property. Or if you haven't done that, you just show up at an open home. As soon as you interact with that agent, the negotiation has already started. They are evaluating your body language when you're walking through. They're evaluating your partner, your kids, all of the things to see if you are interested in the property. They're asking a lot of questions. They're really friendly, but it's also a part of their job and that they can use that in negotiation. So by having a buyer's agent, they can be in the middle as almost like a mediator to block any of those emotions. If you really, really love a property and you really want it, a buyer's agent can help with the negotiation because they can then stop that going on further to the real estate agent and then maybe negatively using that against you to get you to pay more. You may pay a little bit more than what say the list price is, or maybe even a little bit more than it's worth if you really love it and you want to move in. But you don't want to go too far over, especially if you don't have to. And a buyer's agent knows the value of the property, and they will be able to navigate through those emotions for you so they are not used against you in the negotiation. Another reason to use a buyer's agent is local insight. If you are buying a home to live in, you may think you don't really need to know about the suburb or things like that because you already know the area. But what you may not know is how the agent works. So for an investment property, it's a little bit different. You want somebody that knows the area and knows the different things, especially as an investor if you haven't been to that particular area that you are going in to invest in. However, as somebody that's buying their own home, it is also really important because a buyer's agent, like I said, they work with all of the different agents. They know they all work very differently. They've got different personalities themselves. So knowing that, that is what we talk about when we say local insights. Even when you're buying your own home, it is really, really helpful to understand these things, to be able to go into even inspecting the property before your negotiation. Now, beyond the purchase, typically when we talk about strategic thinking within buying property, a lot of people think that is only for investors, and it is heavily about investors. You have to know if and when you are thinking about buying your next property. If you've already got a bigger portfolio, it has to work within your existing portfolio. So it's really important that you have that strategy and know where you want to take your property investments. However, it also comes into play when you are buying your own home, and often something that is not thought of when you're buying your own home. It is, what do you want to do in the future? Now, obviously, nobody has a crystal ball that we can go, I'm going to need exactly these things and I'm going to be here for this amount of time. We can plan for these things, but what is often not thought of when buying your own home is, if you are only buying a home for, say, 5 years and then you want to move out of the area, you want to make sure that you are buying something that has investor appeal as well. Now, it's really hard to think about stuff like that when you know you just want to live in it and that first thought when you're buying. But that's where a buyer's agent can come in and really help you pull your emotion out of it. Obviously, you're still going to be emotional about it. It is somewhere you want to live and potentially raise a family. But you need to think of these things as a long-term goal, or have a long-term goal for these. Property is very expensive. So having these plans in place, even if you're not stuck to them, having a goal, even if you want to buy and maybe invest later, you're going to need to have a plan of where you're going to buy, because some places, even if that's somewhere you really want to live, would you consider moving a suburb or two over when you look at the numbers and that one is more likely to have more capital growth, that you could then extract that equity out and buy an investment property later? So those sorts of things, even when you are buying a home to live in, are something that a buyer's agent can help you navigate through. Another reason to have a buyer's agent is almost having a mediator, particularly with couples. Oftentimes we don't think one person in the couple, they want this, they almost expect the other person, or they think that the other person in their relationship wants that as well. And then you've got the person on this side that is thinking the same but about something completely different, and they're often misaligned on what they actually want. So you go to open home after open home, so misaligned that you're not getting anywhere and you don't really even understand. Having somebody as a mediator can really help you break down exactly what you want in a house. And somebody, again, sometimes you need somebody to ask you exactly the right questions so you can come together and really know exactly what you both want and what you don't want out of a property. Sometimes I think it's really underrated, that part of a buyer's agent, having somebody in the middle that can just help you really understand where everyone wants to go, where they need to be before you even start looking. It saves so much time and energy, even just that. That's before you even start looking at property. having that knowledge of each other and where you want to go, where you want to take your property journey, really underrated and a hugely underrated part of being a buyer's agent. So to wrap this all up, no, you don't need a buyer's agent. You can definitely go and do it yourself. Obviously, a lot of people do, especially in Australia. Buyer's agents are relatively new, but there is so much to it. Even when you're buying your own home, there are so many different ways, many that I've gone through, that a buyer's agent can help you navigate, do the research, local insights, saving time, that emotional barrier. So many things a buyer's agent can help you with to make the whole process run a little bit smoothly and actually enjoyable. I know a lot of people, they're going to open home after open home. It gets quite exhausting and it's almost like you've seen the house again and again. A buyer's agent, having that middle person is really, really helpful.